There's something unsettling about the way this car wakes up in the morning, like it already knows it's faster than almost everything around it. You press the start button and for a split second there's silence. Then the engine catches with a sharp, metallic bark. Not loud in a theatrical way but tight, compressed, purposeful, like every combustion event is already under control. This is not just any engine, and if you've heard about the Alpha builds, you already know this goes far beyond factory intentions. But before we get to the power, the numbers, and the madness, we need to understand what this engine really is at its core. Because underneath all the tuning, all the boost, and all the hype, lives one of the most over-engineered V6 engines ever put in a road car. The Nissan GT-R VR38 DTT is not exotic in layout, but it's extraordinary in execution. A 3.8-liter twin-turbocharged V6, hand-assembled, closed-deck block, plasma-sprayed cylinder bores, and built to handle far more than it was ever rated for. Even in stock form, this engine always felt like it was holding something back. Like it was engineered with a margin, a safety net, a buffer waiting to be exploited. And that's exactly where Alpha tuning enters the picture. Because Alpha doesn't just tune the VR38, it unlocks what Nissan quietly engineered into it from the beginning. But listen closely at idle because even here you can tell something is different. There's a faint vibration through the cabin, not rough, but present, like a reminder that this engine is tightly wound. The turbos whisper softly, almost inaudible, but you know they're there waiting. And the exhaust note, it's not naturally dramatic, but it has this dense, pressurized tone that hints at what's coming. Now, let's talk about the architecture because this is where things get serious. The VR38 uses a deep-skirt aluminum block with a closed-deck design, which is critical for high-boost applications. That means the cylinders are fully supported, reducing distortion under extreme pressure. Then you have a forged steel crankshaft, plasma-coated cylinder walls, and in most Alpha builds, upgraded forged internals throughout. Stronger pistons, reinforced connecting rods, and often revised compression ratios depending on the build level. Because once you start pushing boost into this engine, cylinder pressures climb rapidly. And managing that pressure is everything. Fuel delivery becomes critical, so Alpha setups typically include upgraded fuel injectors, high-flow fuel pumps, and in many cases, ethanol compatibility. Because E85 allows for higher boost, cooler combustion, and more aggressive timing. But it also demands precision, and that's where ECU tuning comes into play. The GT-R's ECU is incredibly complex, managing boost, timing, fueling, and torque delivery across all four wheels. And when tuned correctly, it transforms the car into something almost unreal. Now imagine pulling out into the city, light throttle, low RPM. The car feels calm, almost civilized, but there's a tension underneath like it's waiting for permission. You press the throttle gently and the response is immediate. Not explosive yet, but sharp, like the engine is already on alert. That's the thing about this setup, the throttle mapping is precise and even at low speeds you feel connected. But once the turbos start to spool, everything changes. And in an Alpha GT-R, those turbos are not small. Larger compressor wheels, upgraded housings, and significantly higher boost targets. So when boost builds, it doesn't just rise, it surges. There's a moment just before full boost where the engine takes a breath. And then it hits you. Not like a naturally aspirated engine that climbs smoothly, but like a wave of compressed air pushing you forward. This is forced induction at its most aggressive. Now, let's build some suspense here because we haven't talked numbers yet. And there's a reason for that. Because numbers don't prepare you for how this feels. But you need context. Stock GT-Rs, depending on model year, typically sit somewhere in the 500 to 600 horsepower range. Already fast, already capable of supercar-level acceleration. But Alpha builds, they exist on a completely different scale. Depending on the level, Alpha packages can push well beyond 1,000 horsepower. Some even approaching or exceeding 1,500 horsepower with the right setup. And suddenly this engine is no longer just powerful, it's borderline violent. Now take that onto the highway. You're cruising at around 50 miles per hour, steady throttle, everything feels composed. You drop a gear or let the transmission do it for you. And then you press the throttle. There's a fraction of a second where the turbos spool, pressure builds, and then it hits. From 50 to 90 miles per hour, the acceleration is relentless. No drop-off, no hesitation, just continuous thrust. The kind that pins you into the seat and makes the world outside blur. And the sound, it's not just exhaust. It's intake noise, turbo whine, wastegate chatter, all layered together. A mechanical symphony of compressed air and controlled explosions. Now, compare this to something like a Porsche 911 Turbo S. The Porsche is refined, precise, incredibly fast, but it feels polished, almost clinical. The GT-R Alpha, by contrast, feels raw, aggressive, like it's barely contained. Or take a Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Naturally aspirated, high-revving, beautiful sound, but it builds power in a completely different way. Linear, predictable, emotional. The GT-R doesn't build power, it delivers it in massive, compressed waves. And then there's something like an Audi R8 V10 performance. Again, naturally aspirated, high RPM, precise. But none of them hit you with the same turbocharged brutality as an Alpha GT-R. Now let's talk about 0 to 60, because this is where engineering meets reality. On paper, these cars are capable of incredibly low times, often under 3 seconds. But real-world performance depends on traction, surface, and launch control behavior. The GT-R uses an advanced all-wheel drive system, distributing torque to maximize grip. And with proper launch control, the engine builds boost before you even move. So when you release the brake, it's not just acceleration, it's an explosion of forward motion. But here's the thing, at alpha power levels, traction becomes the limiting factor. Even with all-wheel drive, you're dealing with immense torque. So the launch is violent, sometimes unpredictable, and always intense. Now let's address heat, because this is where high-performance builds live or die. Repeated pulls generate massive heat in the turbos, intercoolers, and engine internals. Alpha setups typically include upgraded cooling systems. Larger intercoolers, improved radiators, oil coolers, and better airflow management. But even then, heat soak is real. After several hard pulls, intake temperatures rise and performance can start to taper. That's the trade-off of extreme power. You gain incredible performance, but you have to manage the thermals carefully. And this brings us to long-term ownership. Because this isn't just about speed, it's about living with this machine. Maintenance costs can be significant. High-performance components wear faster, especially under aggressive driving. Oil changes, spark plugs, transmission servicing, all become more critical. And if something fails, it's not cheap. But for many owners, that's part of the experience. Because this engine, when properly built and maintained, can be surprisingly durable. The VR38's robust design means it can handle high power levels if everything is done correctly. But it demands respect. You can't ignore maintenance, you can't cut corners, and you can't treat it like a regular car. Now, listen again as the engine comes back to idle after a hard run. There's a slight ticking from the cooling metal, the turbos winding down. And the exhaust settles back into that tight, controlled rhythm. It's almost calm again, like nothing just happened. But you know better. Because once you've experienced that surge, that boost, that relentless acceleration, you realize this engine isn't just powerful. It's engineered for extremes. And that's what makes the Nissan GT-R Alpha so compelling. It's not just a car, it's a platform. A foundation built strong enough to handle absurd levels of performance. And an engine that rewards those willing to push it further. So if you're looking at this from a USA buyer perspective, you have to ask yourself what you really want. Refinement or raw performance? Predictability or intensity? Because the GT-R Alpha doesn't pretend to be something it's not. It's aggressive, it's demanding, and it's incredibly fast. And in a world where many performance cars are becoming more digital, more filtered, this still feels mechanical, still feels real. And that might be its greatest strength. If you understand it, respect it, and maintain it, this engine will deliver an experience that very few cars can match. And that's why, even after all these years, the GT-R, especially in alpha form, still commands attention, still surprises people, and still feels like something special. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most insane engine platforms out there, make sure you're subscribed, because there's a lot more coming. And trust me, we're just getting started.